Why do we stay in relationships that hurt us? Why do we hold on to people who break us and call it love? It's not because we're weak. It's not because we're blind. It's because somewhere deep inside us, something is still hoping, still waiting, still believing. It didn't start off toxic. In fact, it probably felt beautiful. They made you feel wanted, seen, alive. Like someone finally understood you. You laughed, you dreamed, you thought you found your person. But slowly, things began to change. You felt the shift in their tone. The way their love became conditional. You started shrinking just to keep the peace. Apologizing just to avoid another argument. Convincing yourself, it's just a phase. Things will get better. And when they hurt you, they said they were sorry. They blamed their past. And you forgave them. Because you loved them. Because you remembered who they used to be. What you didn't realize is that your heart was forming something called a trauma bond. Where pain is followed by affection. Where manipulation is masked as love. And where your nervous system becomes addicted to the roller coaster. You crave the high of their affection. Because you've been starving in the lows. You weren't in love with who they truly were. You were in love with the moments they gave you just enough to keep you hoping. Psychologically, we're drawn to what's familiar, not what's healthy. And if you grew up in a home where love was inconsistent, loud, or conditional, your mind doesn't always recognize peace as love. It recognizes intensity and calls that love. People confuse intensity with intimacy. Sometimes we accept pain because it's the only kind of love we've ever known. You stayed, not because you didn't see the red flags, but because you kept telling yourself, I can fix this. If I love them more, they'll change. If I leave now, I'll lose everything we built. But deep down you knew. You felt it in the silence between arguments. In the tears you cried alone. In the way you had to shrink yourself just to keep them close. The version of them you were holding on to was just a memory. A version that only existed in your hopes, not in reality. And still, you stayed. Because leaving meant admitting that the love you gave, the time you spent, the tears you cried, were for someone who never truly chose you the way you chose them. You're not in love with them. You're in love with what you thought you could be together. And if you're honest, you stayed because you were afraid. Afraid that this might be the best you'll ever get. Afraid that if you let them go, no one else will come. That maybe this pain is the price you have to pay for love. You told yourself, everyone has flaws. Maybe I'm asking for too much. Maybe this is just how relationships are. Maybe love is supposed to hurt a little. Maybe this is all I deserve. But here's the truth. Settling for pain isn't loyalty. It's fear wearing a mask. Fear that no one else will want you. Fear that love without chaos won't feel real. Fear that letting go means starting over with nothing. Fear that being alone is worse than being hurt. But it's not. Because being alone with peace is always better than being with someone who chips away at your spirit. You weren't in love with who they truly were. You were in love with the moments they gave you just enough to keep you hoping. You're not in love with them. You're in love with what you thought you could be together. You missed the potential, not the person. The truth is, you're not hard to love. You were just trying to be loved in a place that never saw you clearly. Here's the truth. You can love someone deeply and still need to leave. You can miss them and still know they're not good for you. You can grieve what you had, even if it was unhealthy. That doesn't make you weak. That makes you human. Leaving a toxic relationship is not the end of love. It's the beginning of self-respect. It's finally choosing yourself, after years of choosing them over your peace. And maybe, just maybe, it's the first time you'll learn what love is supposed to feel like. Safe, kind, soft, consistent. Not a war zone inside your heart. If no one told you this before, let me be the one. You deserve better than a love that confuses you. You deserve better than apologies with no change. You deserve better than love that only shows up when it's convenient. You are not hard to love. You are not too emotional. You are not the problem. Sometimes, the most powerful form of self-love is walking away. Not because you stopped loving them, but because you started loving yourself more. So don't stay because you're afraid to start over. Start over because you're brave enough to not stay. Thanks for watching. Please like, share, comment and subscribe.